The crimson star of Arinder burned low over the imperial citadel, its dying light casting molten shadows across the marble halls of the galactic throne. Empress Seraphina Veyra stood before the viewing glass, her silhouette outlined against the endless void. An empress feared by galaxies, obeyed by worlds, and loved by none. Her armor, woven from starlight and tempered neutron steel, clung to her like a second skin. Every plate gleamed with power, every curve radiated command. Yet tonight, the great empress felt something she had never known before: uncertainty. Below, the palace buzzed with whispers. The empress was to meet the human prisoner, a single man, captured during the rebellion of the outer colonies. A man who, unlike the countless who'd knelt before her, had refused to bow. Scene 1: The captive. 2 guards escorted him in, his wrists bound by shimmering cuffs of antimatter light. His name was Orion Kael, a commander from the fallen human alliance. His uniform, torn and bloodstained, bore no medals, only grit and the kind of defiance that could set stars on fire. Seraphina turned slowly, her voice a low, melodic echo that could silence entire fleets. "You're the one who burned my outpost on Lyra 9, she said. "I freed it," he replied. Her lips curved faintly, somewhere between amusement and irritation. "You call that freedom? 1,000,000 dead. And how many have you enslaved, Empress?" His tone didn't waver. The guards stiffened, waiting for the Empress's wrath. But Seraphina raised her hand. "Leave us." The chamber door sealed with a hiss. Now it was just the two of them, ruler and prisoner, predator and prey. Or perhaps not. Scene 2: A dangerous exchange. "You humans," Seraphina began, pacing in slow, graceful steps. "You still think defiance is noble. You mistake survival for rebellion. And you mistake control for peace," Orion said. "The galaxy fears your beauty more than your armies." Her gaze snapped to him. "My beauty?" He met her eyes, unflinching. "You hide behind armor and titles, but you're still a woman beneath it all. You rule through fear because you think no one could ever see you as anything else." For a heartbeat, the stars outside seemed to still. No one had ever dared speak to her like that. Not a general, not a lover, not a soul. "Careful," she whispered, stepping closer. "Your tongue could end your life." "Then let it," Orion said softly. "At least I died telling the truth." Something flickered in her eyes, something fragile. Her breath caught, barely perceptible beneath the hum of her armor. "You're either brave or suicidal." He smiled faintly. "Maybe both." Scene 3: Beneath the mask. Seraphina dismissed his bindings with a motion of her hand. The cuffs dissolved into light. She circled him slowly, studying the man who dared to challenge a goddess. "Do you know why they call me the Starfire Empress?" she asked. "Because you burn anyone who defies you." "Because I must." Her voice was suddenly softer, almost human. "If I show mercy, the galaxies crumble. If I show weakness, my enemies strike." "And if you show yourself?" he asked. Her hand paused midair. "Myself. The woman behind the crown," Orion said. "The one who looks out that window and wonders what it's all for." She didn't answer. Instead, she stepped forward, until he could see the faint shimmer of her pulse beneath the translucent metal of her armor. For the first time he realized, she wasn't just powerful. She was lonely. Then impulsively he said, "You're beautiful." The words hung between them like a forbidden spell. Seraphina froze. Her eyes widened. For a moment, her control slipped, and her face, always composed, betrayed the faintest hint of color. "Blush. Impossible. The Empress of 10,000 suns. blushing. Her hand trembled, then quickly curled into a fist. "Do you mock me?" she hissed, but the edge in her voice faltered. "No," Orion said gently. "I mean it." Scene 4. The Blush of the Empress. She turned away, staring out at the stars again. The galaxy reflected in her eyes. Countless worlds she ruled, yet none she truly belonged to. The silence between them grew heavy, intimate. "You think you can charm me into freeing you," she murmured. "I think I already did," he replied. She turned back sharply, but the smirk on his lips disarmed her more than any weapon could. "Human arrogance," she muttered. "You believe your words can undo empires." "No," Orion said. "But maybe they can reach the person who built one." For a long moment, Seraphina just looked at him. Her mind, a storm of logic and command, wavered. Something inside her, something buried under layers of armor, duty, and pain, stirred. Last she spoke. "If I release you, my council will revolt." "Then don't release me," Orion said. "Just listen. Listen. To your heart," he said. "The one you've been silencing since you put on that crown." Scene 5. The Choice. Outside, thunder rolled through the nebula. The crimson star flickered. The Empire trembled, but the Empress stood still, her gaze locked on the one man who had ever seen her as more than a symbol. Finally she said, "You should hate me." "I don't," he said. "Because I see the fire in you isn't evil, it's just trapped." A single tear traced down her cheek, catching the light like liquid silver. She quickly brushed it away. "You presume too much, human. And you feel too little," he whispered. She exhaled shakily, the first crack in her composure in years. Then, almost to herself, she murmured, "He called the Galactic Empress beautiful." Orion tilted his head. And even her deadly curves couldn't hide her blush. Seraphina's lips parted in astonishment. Then, slowly, she smiled. A small, impossible, breathtaking smile. "Get out," she said softly. "Before I change my mind." He bowed slightly, and for the first time in centuries, the Empress did not feel like a queen of war, but a woman rediscovering what it meant to be seen. As Orion was led away, the Empress turned back to the stars. Her armor shimmered in the dying light, but beneath the steel and power, her heart burned brighter than ever. Somewhere beyond the void, the galaxy waited, for an Empress who had finally remembered how to feel. The guards escorted Orion toward the docking bay, his steps echoing through the endless marble corridors. Behind him, the vast doors of the throne chamber sealed shut with a hiss, separating mortal from monarch once more. Seraphina stood motionless, her hand resting over the faint pulse beneath her armor. Her empire stretched across 1,000 worlds, yet tonight she felt the weight of a single heartbeat more than all of them combined. For centuries, she had ruled through strength, never allowing tenderness to weaken her resolve. But now she understood how hollow her victories had been. The stars outside shimmered, no longer cold, but alive with color. A whisper escaped her lips, barely audible. "Beautiful, he called me beautiful." No one had ever dared say it, not without fear, not without expectation. And somehow, that single word had pierced the armor she thought impenetrable. Far below, Orion paused at the hangar doors, sensing her gaze even from light years away. He didn't know what future awaited him, execution, exile, or something far stranger, but he knew he had changed something inside her. And perhaps that was enough. High above, in the silence of the Empress's chamber, Seraphina turned toward the stars once more. Her reflection shimmered against the glass. No longer just a ruler of galaxies, but a woman who had finally remembered her own heart.